I'm just starting a YouTube stream right now. All right, looks like we're live. Did anyone have a chance to practice rewriting any of that stuff last night? All right, and did everyone have a chance to pull the latest from the GitHub repo? Did anyone was not able to pull the latest yet?
I'm having trouble, but I might have screwed it up from the beginning. There's like merge conflicts and all these things. I don't know what they mean. And my GitHub desktop didn't want to open. So it's kind of a hot mess. But I had the stuff I did yesterday, but now I don't see it. So, and I was up to date yesterday.
Okay. So in your GitHub, do you have your GitHub desktop open now?
Now I do.
So underneath changes, does it show any local changes on the left?
Yeah, it says 7 changed files.
Right. So
it says resolve conflicts and commit to merge into master.
Yeah. So basically, if you tried to pull the latest, it's going to be pulling down files that I changed that you still have local changes for. So it's going to want you to merge those, which we don't really want to do.
Right.
Because then you're going to be in a weird, funky state to start with. So one thing you could do is you could either stash those changes, or you can just right click on where the changes are and discard all changes and then pull the latest again. So those are your two options there.
I'll try again. Pull.
But you have to discard all the changes or stash the other changes first before you do that. Otherwise, yep.
I discarded, now it's warning me. Pulling without specifying how to reconcile divergent branches is discouraged. Should I do it anyway?
Yeah, you're going to get the latest anyway, so. You're on your current branch is master, right?
Yeah, and it says it won't let me.
Oh, it won't let you. Okay.
It says you have not concluded your merge. Merge head exists. Please commit your changes before merging. Exiting because of unfinished merge.
Interesting. So let's see. So if you go up to your branch menu at the top of the screen.
Yep.
Can you stash all changes, or is that grayed out?
No, there's no change. There's nothing there.
Nothing there. Okay, so let's you want to share your screen real quick?
Sure.
Let's take a look. How did everyone else do? Everyone else be able to pull? So someone didn't pull yet.
Sorry, I don't normally have problems. If something was wrong with the GitHub desktop, I don't know. I was freaked out. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we go back over to where it says resolve conflicts, can you click on that? Right now you have the branch menu open.
Oh, here, this. Yeah, view them.
So let's view conflicts. Commit merge. Okay, so now let's go up to branch. Oh, sorry, all the way at the top of the screen.
Oh, here. Oh,
branch.
Yep.
And sorry, repository. Sorry, and then pull from there. Let's see what it says. Originless. Cool, that's good. So let's click on the history. And let's see what we see. Pull, see where it says merge pull request number 15?
This one, yeah.
Yep. Those are all the changes I did last night.
Okay.
So if we go into your VS Code.
Yeah.
if you're still within that repository underneath the working folder, you should see my changes from last time.
Okay, I closed VS Code because I was trying to like refresh.
Oh, okay, yeah. So start that up. Make sure you navigate to that folder.
Yeah.
Open an integrated terminal at that folder level.
Okay.
And then you should be good to go from there.
Thank you.
Yeah. How's everyone else doing? Everyone good? Thumbs ups? I saw some thumbs ups. Saw some head nods. That's good. All right. Okay. Cool. All right. So, anyone have any thoughts about what we did yesterday? Any concerns? Any questions? Any burning questions before we get into it? I'll give you guys a chance to speak to it if you want. I know it always looks like I'm looking off to the side, but you guys are showing up on my second monitor, so I'm not like giving you the cold shoulder. It's just this is just where my webcam is.
Well, that's the same for me. I have my other laptop to my right, and that's the one I have the camera on. So sometimes I look like, because I'm looking at the Mac to do the actual work. So I am not looking away from anybody. I'm just.
Any questions on what we did yesterday, or do we want to just jump right into working with the code again?
Hi, Joey. This is Dominique. I don't have a question about yesterday, but just a random question.
Yeah.
I might be for security, but when will is there any way that we're gonna learn when, like, say somebody wants to take a screenshot of your website or something, like a picture, and some certain websites it has a black screen. I know we have like a right click, enable, disable, but is there any way to, like, are we ever going to go over security wise, like say you're watching a video and you want to take a part of the video and you go to take a screenshot, but the video doesn't show up, it's a black screen?
Not in this module.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's I'm not too familiar with the technology or the patterns to make that happen personally, so I would probably not be the best person to talk about it. That might I would definitely bring it up as you get closer to. You can even ask Max. He might have some experience with that. I know he's had quite a broad range of things that he's worked on, but I've never personally come across a site that disallows it, nor have I actually tried to implement it. So just as
okay.
Yeah,
I
just
was
as
playing
honest.
around with a bunch of sites. Sorry to cut you off. I was playing around with a bunch of sites, and if you go to Hulu and you try to take a picture of Hulu during a video streaming, it will not let you. So I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool feature to have, especially since I have videos. My artwork's copywritten, and the reason why my site is disabled now is to pretty much keep the thieves from stealing it until I get the right click. And
there's a way around that. You can, especially with like streaming services, I understand, they don't want somebody to record it and sell it or whatever, distribute it. But that's only on the device, like the browser, right? I can put a video camera against my TV and I can record anything I want. So you can only go so far with protecting your content that way. But at least there are other ways, like putting copyright notices on the screen, or your logo or watermarks, or usually what they're called. If you're really concerned about your images being distributed, you can at least have some sort of legal recourse after that. But at the same time, that's been an issue since a television was created, right? So you can get anything you want if you have enough cleverness to you, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So also, just on that topic again, when you are creating web applications inside your code that gets published out to something that's public facing, that gets bundled into your JavaScript, never ever keep like secrets in there, right? So anytime you have you don't want to give away any of your server information or any of your users' data information, don't put any mock data in there that represents the actual examples of what could exist in your database. because JavaScript is public. You can't hide that if it's running in the browser. You can minify it and you can obscure it in some ways. But if you have like strings of data in there with actual like sensitive data, that's a security issue. So just as a heads up on that stuff. So all of that stuff we'll talk about again in security module. But at the same time, yeah, so whatever you don't want to be public, don't plainly put it in your code, basically. Okay.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? I see lots of jump ins. So all right, let's see the difference between inner HTML and dangerously. Okay, so dangerously set HTML. Yeah, so we're actually going to cover that in as we go through this application. There's going to be a particular component that uses the dangerously set HTML property, and we'll definitely go over that. Yep, that's definitely also falls within the realm of security concerns because hackers, bad hackers can take advantage of certain things. So we want to let you know ahead of time, the different types of HTML you'd want to render using that property. Okay. So, all right, so we are going to, first I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share, we talked about React Router yesterday. Is my local host still running? I think it might be. Nope, it's not. Okay, I'm gonna have to restart that. That's okay. Got latest. All right, excellent. So let's share desktop 1. Everyone should see my VS Code window pop up shortly here. Resize my windows. Launch my chat because everything closes on me. All right. Okay, so where we left off, we were creating basically a nav bar in essence, so we can navigate between different pages or quote unquote pages, right? We're navigating between different components of our application that represent the page state or the page content. In the web, make it so that components that might be downloaded from the site captures will expire after a short period of time. The components, you can't really get the component. But I understand what you're saying, and there's only so much you can do with that as well. That's more of like the security topic concern right there. We won't get into that too much. Okay, so let's start up. So if everyone is in their integrated terminal, just do a quick pwd if your development server is not running, to make sure you are in your class project working folder. And then if you are, just type npm start, hit enter, let this thing fire up. Okay. All right, so that's starting. Pull this. Pull this over here. Resize my screens again. Okay.
Should we also have a web thing open like you do, or just do
So
this code?
when you type npm start, hit enter, it's automatically going to launch that browser for you.
Oh, we have to start each time.
Yeah, so if your server is not running, you definitely need to start it. Otherwise, you won't be able to see your changes.
Yeah, okay. And we just We can do that from any of these folders. So if we're in layout and we have a terminal open with the layout.
Well,
folder,
you need to make sure that
go to
your
the top.
working directory is the class project working directory. So
Yes.
right click that and do
Start
open
there.
and integrate
Okay.
terminal.
Gotcha.
So Joey, I'm having trouble with mine. I pulled from the GitHub repo and everything. I did PWD, and then I did npm start, but it says npm error missing script start.
Are you sure you're in the right working folder?
I should be. It's the cohort 2, and then I did PWD, so it's in careers in code classroom, code base cohort 2. And
Right.
then
So you need to be inside the class project working folder of inside your terminal. So again, if you right click that folder in your file and folder pane, open an integrated terminal, will make
Got it.
sure that you're in the right folder within your terminal. Otherwise, it won't be able to find the start script because when you type npm start, it's looking in that folder for package.json. And if it can't find it, that's the warning you get.
it worked. Okay, I was just in the wrong file then. Sorry.
Perfect. Awesome. Righty. Cool. So where we left off was inside components, layout folder, and layout.js. Now, right now, it doesn't really look so pretty. We want to make it look a lot nicer. We want to make it look something like this, right? So we have this nav bar looking thing. We've got like some brand over here. This is your typical Bootstrap template. And what's nice about that, oops, I just didn't want to move that. Hold on a second. What's nice about JSX in Java or in React is that it's so similar to HTML that we can take some HTML, plop it into our project, and with a little tweaking, it's totally valid JSX. So as a demonstration, we're going to change, let's say well, first of all, we want to have our nav inside of our header component, right? Because the header is going to be visible all the time, right? So header will stay on the screen, footer will stay on the screen.
I took him out and he did pee.
I'm sorry? Oh, okay.
Hey, Joey.
Yeah.
Brandy and Carolyn got failure to compile errors.
Failure to compile errors?
In the browser, after npm start
Mm-hmm.
at localhost 3000.
In your terminal, does it say that, does it show this yet? Does it show that you can go to local? It shows the localhost 3000 link.
Let's see here. I'm gonna go back into that window, 13-inch screen. Oh, geez. Yeah, remember we fixed all that stuff last night? Source component, header.js, module not found, can't resolve the React DOM.
So it sounds like you didn't really get the latest.
I have the same issue too.
I pulled it down.
I pulled mine as well, and I'm missing layout.js.
Yeah, I pulled mine and I got rid of.
Did
whatever
anyone,
I had.
is anyone else seeing this, or is everyone else's launching?
So when I pulled right before class, I didn't have it. And then I just pulled again when we started because it was all missing and now it's there. So the pull I did right before class didn't have it. All the new folders.
Yeah, I got everything.
I had to pull again.
You pulled again. Well, it should have been there from last night. Warnings, the browser reopened. I don't have this name. Okay. Let's see. So is anyone able to see this exactly like this in their layout.js file?
Different colors, but yeah.
I don't even have the layout.js file.
So you don't even have the layout.js file. Okay, so let's do this. Let's make sure everyone's on the exact same page here. So if we, inside your terminal, let's hit Control-C to cancel our server. All right, we'll have everyone go to GitHub Desktop and make sure that you're on the current branch is master.
Mhm.
and that you're on the changes tab, not the history, but the changes tab. We don't want to see any local changes in here whatsoever.
Right. I'm good.
Okay. And then if you do see changes, right click and discard all changes.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're going to go to repository and pull.
Well, oh, I just keep clicking fetch origin. Oh, I gotta go, right.
Yeah, if you fetch,
There's a
it's
menu.
not
up
going to
there.
necessarily pull it down. It's only going to
Yeah.
show you what's available. You have to actually pull.
I keep forgetting about that little menu up there.
So that at that point, after pulling, should I open a new VS Code file then? And
No, you should see the changes in your VS Code right now if you pulled it. So if
Yes.
I go in here, you should see a layout folder with a layout file in it.
I
as
still
long as
don't
you
have
pull.
that.
So we shouldn't have to do anything else in the GitHub desktop then.
No, after you pull it, that's it. That's done.
So we can go back in VS Code.
So do you,
It's-
does anyone copy the repo to some other folder where they work on it?
Yes,
Right, so
yes.
you'll still have to do that if that's what you do. If you're working out of just the repo folder, then you should be able to see these
Oh.
changes. If you don't, I would say maybe just close VS Code and restart it. Open up that folder again, open up the repo folder again, navigate to, class project working.
So
and
for
then-
tonight's practice, should we just be in the classroom code base folder with you and just do that? And then we can move those files later?
You can do that too, yep.
What would be better?
It'll probably be quicker to do it that way than to copy
Okay,
everything over and then start working on
yeah,
it. Then
that's
you'll
just-
fall
yeah.
behind.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so for everyone, just show me a thumbs up if you have the layout.js file that looks like this.
I
Okay.
did, but now I gotta get the new,
So Lena doesn't have it yet.
hold on. Slowpoke over here. Let's see, I need to get back into, yeah, my brain stopped, all right. Open folder.
Okay. So Karen doesn't.
Cohort 2. Module 6. All right, now.
So for the people that don't see it yet, has it shown up yet, or no? See, Alina, you're shaking your head. Do you want to share your screen so we can take a quick look?
Yeah, I can do that.
Do you want to do it, Karen? Okay, let's take a look at yours. Let's see what we got.
Because you cannot share screen. I guess yours
Oh.
is still being shared.
Here, let me stop mine first,
Okay.
and then I'll see if you can do it. Okay, so you're on branch master, you've got changes. So you have a bunch of changes already. So it has 29 changed files. So you're not gonna be able to, right? So we have to either stash those changes or discard them. You need to choose one of the two.
We can discard them. There, something was going wrong anyway. I wasn't getting, like, in my console, I wasn't seeing the API. Kept giving me
Okay.
error.
Well, I see you're working on things other than what we're working on in here. So I don't want you to lose those. So up at the very top of your screen, if you go to, I believe, branch menu, way at the top, like all the way at the top of your screen. So that your desktop menus kind of comes down. Put your cursor all the way to the, yeah, so hit branch. Stash all changes. Okay, and it looks like there was one that it didn't, and that's the one we're working on. So you can right click on one changed file and discard that one. since that's the module we're already working on. Yep, perfect. Oh, we can stash right from there too. That's cool. Yep, you can just discard that one. Okay, and now if you go all the way up to the top of your screen again and do a pull from the repository menu, all the way up to the top again.
Okay, here. Yeah.
All the way to the top of your desktop. Yep, repository, do a pull. Okay, you can click back down into where it's grayed out. Or just click on current repository on the white menu there at the top left, where the filter search bar is. Yeah. Nope, not that one. Just click somewhere in there and filter. All right, and then now click the top where it says Careers in Code Classroom. Click that to, yep, we'll close that. If you click History, oh, no. Click the History tab. And right there, merge pull request number 15, that's code changes from last night. So now you should be able to go back to your VS Code and you should be able to see those files.
Okay, this is this one here.
Yep, that's my changes from last night.
All right, so I just need to click on this.
Nope, you need to go back to VS Code. So we're done with you're done with GitHub Desktop for now.
Okay.
Yep. So you can close it out or minimize it. And then open up VS Code. And you should be good to go. Just make sure you navigate to the class project working folder. Let's see. So you go down to what class project
I was
working.
in there.
Yeah, so that looks good. Now if you go down and type npm start, let's see what it says. How you doing, Alina? Were you able to get that?
No, I actually don't even have the changes code 15 in my GitHub repo. Like I tried to search it. I even tried to search your name and only old repos came up. Like I didn't even see any.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I just went through that whole process again, and this time I actually pulled down the repository. Hello. And I did the npm start, and then I got a few things indicating it was doing something, and then in the web browser it says failed to compile again. It says source components header.js modules not found. Can't
Okay,
resolve
so
the
let's
blah blah blah.
let's do this. So can you go back to your VS Code?
Moi? Me?
Oh, Karen.
Okay, I am there.
Okay, VS Code.
There you go.
Compile,
Oh,
footer.
Karen, not Carolyn, sorry. I'm confused.
Let's see layout.js deleted. Let's close out all. So on the left-hand side where it says open editors, click the farthest right icon. Let's close all those, the one with the X. Let's close all those out.
Right here?
Yep. And if you go down into, just click on class project working real quick. And then see at the top of this whole pane, there's a little like recycle icon or the refresh icon. Let's click that.
Here?
Right where it says Untitled, you'll see a file icon right above Cohort 1. Yep, right there. Click that. Okay, now let's open that back up. Let's see what's this going on here. Careers in code. Careers, we want to go into Cohort 2. Down below. Yep, Cohort 2, Module 6. Class project working. Okay, and then open up source. And then components. Oh, you don't even have, I don't even see any of that for you. Why is that? Interesting.
Who you talking about? Like the header dot.
Yeah, you don't even have like,
that we created yesterday. Yeah, it should be here because
let's open up your, I'm sorry, everyone, open up your GitHub desktop again.
I just want to jump in really quick. I actually have the same issues, and I was coding along yesterday, but my code was messed up. So I remember creating the files and everything, but I have the folders, footer, header, homepage layout, but I don't have any of the files.
Ooh,
Oh,
I
that's-
have everything, but it won't compile it in the browser.
okay. What is
Weird.
this merge branch master?
I'm just gonna grab all of cohort too.
So if we go back all the way up to the top of your desktop and do repository pull again. Let's just make sure, not that one, all the way up to your top again, the top of your screen. We want the menu to come down from the top. Yep, repository.
Wait, I have to move my Zoom.
Oh.
Oh, here.
Yeah,
Okay.
repository. Click pull. Thing is, you have it there. That's the thing. Faster. So I'm not sure. Okay, so can you minimize that white menu again? The one with the filter
Oh,
search
shoot,
bar in it.
I wanna do.
Just click on the yeah, just click on, there we go. Click on current repository to minimize that menu. Yeah.
Here.
Yep, no, the current repository. Yep, right there. Can you click on the changes tab real quick?
Components, layout.
It's right below your cursor. The white tab that says changes. Go down just a little bit. There you go. Yeah, no changes. Okay.
Glasses. Right here.
Can you go back to history? See here.
During the
that's
build
weird.
time.
Can you click on where it says merge pull request number 15? Let's take a look at that. Yeah, that's definitely what we did. That's really interesting that you don't have those files. I'm not sure how we're going to resolve that one, to be honest. Well, right, like in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm still having that can't compile issue, and I've redone all this stuff like you suggested, and
All right, so how many people are having this problem?
I am, but if you post it all in the like Slack code base, can we just like copy the files over really quick so we're at the same point? Like if I were to create new files, because I have the folders like the
Well,
footer, header.
here's what else you can do. You can actually go right to the code base on GitHub itself and copy all the stuff right out of there and put them into those files. Right. So let me share my screen again, and I'll show you what I mean.
I do have the files in the folders, but it doesn't like the header one, I guess.
All right. So here's how we can resolve some of that. Let me I need to take the screen
It's
down.
the compile message is not appearing in the terminal, it's on the web page. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, so that means you're not able to start.
Right, I don't know if that has, it gave a little, I can just
All
either
right.
put
So
it in Slack or give you a quick screenshot.
no, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know the error.
Yeah, it's just, it's got a lot to
All right,
it.
does everyone see my-
So it's-
Does everyone see my VS Code? Yes, okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up a browser and show you here. So if I go to github.com/hackupstate, I want to get into the careers and code classroom code base. If I go into cohort 2, module 6, class project working, source, and then components, everything's here. So what you can do is you can create those folders and files and copy it right out of here and paste it into your VS Code
Okay, so here's a funny thing. I don't have like regular components. I have component / homepage. And then when I click on that, it only gives me the homepage CSS and homepage JS.
Right, so you don't have these, for some reason, you don't have these folders. You're seeing the same issue that Karen's seeing.
Correct, I don't. But if I'm on VS Code, like I do have the folders, I just don't have the files within the folders. But I remember creating them and everything yesterday because I was coding along with you. So
Yeah,
after
but
I
that-
pulled, they disappeared.
Yeah, that's in your files though, not in the the class view we're looking at, right?
So do you copy your files to another folder like Carolyn was doing?
I don't know.
You don't, okay. So that's really interesting because pulling this down should just give you the latest.
Yeah, your changes wouldn't be there though.
It's almost like interesting. So for everyone else, are you seeing the changes that we did yesterday? And was npm start, did it work for you?
I mean, I thought I was
It did for
seeing it.
mostly
I
everyone.
had to do npm install and then npm start. It wouldn't
Really?
just work with npm start. I had to run install again.
Oh, right, okay, yep, that's okay.
Oh, let me try that. Okay.
Okay, so this is interesting. I usually pull from GitHub desktop, so I'm not really familiar with GitHub browser. How do I pull from the GitHub browser? Because it says that my last pull was 20 days ago, but I just did like the repository pull and everything as you were talking.
Well, yeah, so in the browser, all we're doing is looking at the repository. We can't actually pull it from here.
Okay, because okay, that makes sense.
So that's what GitHub desktop does for us. It allows us to pull that down.
Correct, and I pulled from the desktop, but it shouldn't say 20 days ago because I literally did it seconds ago.
Yeah.
Right, so
And is it just
Let's-
copy paste or
let's-
can you actually download the files from there?
I suppose you could download it, but honestly, you could just copy paste it if it's already open. So I really want to get into the coding here. Otherwise, we're going to be behind. So let me try one thing.
If you just copy and paste it in like the Slack code base channel, I can copy and paste it and catch up. I don't mind doing that.
Oh,
Okay,
oh,
I mean, I'm just going to be copying and pasting this right here. It's already on through the website. And so
Okay, but
can go-
I don't have
Elena?
those in my components folder. And then also I need to create all of the files from footer.
Right, so
header,
you'll
homepage,
so regardless, you'll still need to create those. You still have to create the folders and then create the files within it. But what I'm saying is you can grab the code itself from the repo through the website.
But they're
And I
not
just
on
did-
my website repo. I don't have those. I only have the homepage CSS and homepage JS. That's what my components is on the repo.
Yeah, so you can make the files and folders and then you can copy all the code for each one of those files.
yeah.
No. I understand that, but I'm saying I don't have those on my GitHub repo. Like I can open it if you guys want. Like I just don't have them.
I did an npm install, Alina, and start, and now everybody's happy on my computer. So
No, I understand what you guys are saying.
that
I've done the
work?
npm start and everything.
Yeah, so-
That's not the
the
issue.
Right.
install.
The issue is that my GitHub repo doesn't have the
Right,
current
so
commits
so
that
what-
we just
yeah,
committed.
so
Matter. Okay.
so locally, you're going to have to create those folders and files,
Okay,
regardless, right?
no, that's fine. I understand
Yeah.
that.
The only thing I was saying is if you go to github.com/hackupstate and go into here, all the source code that you need to copy is in here.
No, mine doesn't have that is what I'm saying. I can show you, like it just doesn't have them. When I
Then-
clicked on the SRC.
And you might not be on HackUpstates. You might be on your personal one.
Mm,
All right, so do you want to share your screen? I want to see.
yes.
Yeah. And then after this, hopefully we can.
Somebody's sharing their screen. I don't know who it is, but
Oh, that's me.
I think it's you. Sorry.
Stop sharing, Joey.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yeah, so you're not on HackUpstates. You're on yours.
Okay, so we want to go
So
to
you have to
Hack
go to
Up-
HackUpstate.
jump to this one.
Yep.
Part 2, module 6, class project working, SRC. Okay, so it's all.
Oh, so here's a question for you then. Are you pulling from your personal one?
I don't think so. Let me just,
Because you might be.
this is, I mean, it says careers in code up here, close that, whatever that is. Careers in code classroom, code base master, and I was pulling from the repo
And-
up here.
Yep. So click history. Let's see your history. Yeah, so you don't have, no, you're not, you're probably pulling from yours.
That's weird. Okay. Well, it says careers in code classroom code, like it says that I was on this one, not mine.
All right, so let's go back up and let's pull again. Let's
Pull
see.
that. And then it still doesn't have any files.
Right, yeah, it's not
Even after I
actually
refresh.
pulling.
It's okay. I can create the files.
Yeah,
and
so
send them
yeah,
over
so
now
for
that I
now,
found them.
create the folders and files.
Joey.
Yep.
The branch at the bottom left of her VS Code is not the master branch.
Wait,
She's
how
on
do I-
a different branch.
Oh,
How do I change that? What are you talking about? I don't even know where we are. You said on
okay,
the left.
so
Hold on a second. He'll explain.
very,
it.
very bottom of your, the left side of your screen, you'll
Right
see
here.
like 7.1E6A, click that,
Okay.
click master.
She has
Yeah.
some like weird merge branch, I think.
Yeah, that's really strange. Okay,
Now, if I try to pull it, will it
so
work?
now go back over to GitHub Desktop.
GitHub desktop. Okay.
Click on, no, see here it says master. All right, so click on changes, make sure there's no pending change, local change. Okay, cool. So now I'll do another pull.
From. Okay.
Yeah, see, no, I think she's pulling from, I think this is her personal one. That's why I think.
But it says master, and then it says master up here as well.
Right, but your repo has a master branch. Every repo has a master branch.
But it says current repository is careers in code classroom code base.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
It's
not
okay.
sure.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
let's-
take up too much time. I'm just going to create the files and copy them over. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay,
Oh,
yep.
Alina, you're in the start folder.
Wait, what?
You're in class project start.
I just clicked on that, but I was in class. Like, there's nothing in the working either.
Can you expand it real quick?
Even after we just.
Oh,
No, okay, yeah, I'm not sure there. Yeah, so just
so I don't know.
create
Even
and copy.
Yeah, it's
Restart
okay.
the whole
It's okay.
computer?
it's not that big of a deal.
All right, yeah, so we really want to, yeah, I want to get this going. Yeah, so we won't, what we're about to do, we're not going to leave the nav bar thing just yet. So once you get to the point where all those files are created, I can copy and paste what we've done so far into the Slack chat. That way you can catch up that way.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, so let me share this again.
So just to clarify, I need a homepage JS, a footer JS, a layout JS. I'll just look at your screen while you're sharing. It's okay.
Yeah, and you can also go, like I said, to the Hack Upstate repo on GitHub, and you can see the folder structure there as well. You can dive into it that way.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry for taking up so much time.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure everyone's at least close to the same starting point. Okay, so we are going to npm start.
Hello.
I'm sorry, did someone say something?
As far as mine goes, how would you like me to proceed?
Oh, so you want to double or right click on class. Oh, that's because my thing's loading. Class project working, open in integrated terminal. And then you may need to run npm install first and then npm start.
Alrighty, I'll do that and see what
Okay.
happens.
Yep,
Thank
just make
you.
sure you're in this folder here. When you open the integrated terminal into class project working.
Okay.
All right, so in layout, oh, where's my browser? There it is. All right, so yesterday we left off with home and search. That's great. So let's, oh, I know what I want to do. We want to talk about the fact that JSX is so similar to HTML that we can grab some HTML, put it into our JSX files. And with a little tweak, we can actually have completely valid JSX. And a lot of work has been done for us. So if I go to getbootstrap.com, I click on examples. I can say, you know what, I'm looking for I want a nice looking nav bar. Here's some nav bars. Let's take a look at this one. So this is pretty close to what we have in our completed app, which, to be honest, this was actually my starting point when I was creating the application. So from here, we can grab the HTML out of this and use it as the basis of creating our header. So all we have to do is right-click anywhere on the page, click View Page Source, and here's some HTML. Oh, look at that. Here's the nav bar. I can literally do this. I can copy all of this, go into my header file, because remember, we're going to do this inside header. And instead of, let's see, how do I have this configured? Return. Okay, so we're going to return, instead of this div, we're going to paste in the HTML. Here. Now, as you can see, we need to do a little tweaking. It's not quite there yet. But now what I can do is I can take a look at, let's see, nav is complaining for some reason because it doesn't have a closing tag. We don't really need the form. So if I go back and look at this, we don't have like this form up here in our example. We just have a couple icons. So we're going to get rid of the form. So we'll just get rid of that. That's cool. Looks like that's the thing that was complaining anyway. I can save that. And now if I come back over to my project, I have a nav bar, right? Now, a couple other tweaks we need to do. Does everyone remember what the actual CSS class is in React? So it's class name, right? Now this is technically working, even though we're not supposed to do that. Underneath the hood in the development console, it's throwing a whole bunch of warnings at us. I have that off to the side right now, so our screen isn't cluttered with warnings. But so for this, we just need to replace all the instances of the word class with class name. If you remember back from yesterday, if you double click one of the keywords and hit Command D, we can start selecting all the instances of the word class, right? And just type class name. And hit escape to get out of there. And now they're all class name. So those little shortcuts are super, super helpful. And they help you out quite a bit. Saves a lot of time. Everyone see what I did there? All right, so now I can save this. React is happy. I'm not getting warnings. I shouldn't be getting warnings.
Sorry, can you repeat that again? It didn't work for me, the Command D.
See, there's some other stuff. Okay, yep. So if you go into, let me revert the change. See where everywhere it says class.
Yep.
Double click that keyword.
Oh, double.
So that the whole thing highlights. And then you can start hitting Command D over and over and over and over again until it doesn't select anything else. And then at that point, you start typing the word class name. And it'll replace all those instances in your file. And then you can just click out anywhere else to get out of that.
Okay. Double click. Thank you.
Yep. It's a really quick way to do a quick find and replace. The other way we could have done it was, I could do it this way where I do, oh, that was not the right shortcut. Hold on a second. I forget, I'm on a Mac. But if I do a find on this, I can actually drop this down and replace. I could do it that way too. And I could do all instances of it. I could do it that way. There's a bunch of different ways that you can accomplish the same thing. I like the Command D simply because there's lots of instances where I don't want to replace every single instance of whatever I'm replacing. And so I have more control over how many I'm selecting. But there's still nice shortcuts. All right, so that's cool. Let's save this. We're looking good here. We're not, it's the dark theme. It's not the light theme. So we can quickly change that. And if we know Bootstrap, all we have to do is replace dark with light. And now it's the light theme. Also, we do want to tweak some other CSS in here, and I'm going to go over how we integrate Sass with our project, because we're going to be utilizing that. Because like I said yesterday, for today and tomorrow, we'll be working with writing some CSS, but after that, I'll provide the style files just to keep things moving along real quick. We could do it that way. But so this isn't quite exactly what we want, so we still have to do a little bit more tweaking. But we're at the point now where if I were to do like change the screen size, well, I may have to integrate the Bootstrap JS file, which I think I might be missing, or I don't have it labeled properly. So we'll get into that. But as you can see, it is responsive in the fact that this nav bar is changing, right? So if it's the small enough screen size, we'll see the hamburger menu. Otherwise, if it's a larger screen size, we'll see the links over here. Let's take a look. Let me see. I wonder if I don't have the. Here is Bootstrap min CSS. Nope, I have the bundle. What if I just do a quick hard refresh on this? We'll have to look into that. But for now, at least we see this. So that's good. We're on the right track. So let's get into replacing some of the stuff in the header with components like the link component that React Router gives us, so we can start linking through our pages again. Because right now, this doesn't do anything, right? It just gives me a hash symbol up there. So let's do that next. So inside header.js, let's start tweaking this thing. And let's see, we're going to wrap the entire thing in a header div. So we're going to put a div of it at the top and put the closing tag at the very bottom. So we're wrapping the entire nav with a div. We're going to give it a class name of header. When we do that, now this shouldn't have changed anything on our screen. It's still the same basic structure, except now we're wrapping our nav. So if I were to minimize that, we can see that this div wraps the entire thing. So if you go to the left-hand side, right next to the number of the line, you can see these arrows. You can collapse the different tags, so you can see down the screen a little easier. So we can actually see, oh yeah, I definitely am wrapping that whole thing. So that's cool. All right, next, let's see what we got here. I'm looking at the notes for the completed code here. Let's see, we have a nav, we have a brand, which is this where it says top nav bar. So that's the brand. We don't want it to say that. We want it to say the name of our app. In this case, it's called R&R. You can call this whatever you want. Also, if you remember, this anchor tag, that's not going to work for us, right? We're not going to have a seamless routing experience. So what component do we have to bring in from React Router? Oh, it's already at the top of the screen. I already gave it away. We have to use the link component. So all we have to do here is, instead of an anchor tag, we just need to make it a link. And remember, it doesn't take an href anymore. Does anyone remember what prop it takes? Oh, my chat's gone, in case people are chatting. 2, yes, exactly. So 2 equals, and then this, we'll just have it take it to the home page. We'll just do that. So if I come over here, I click this, well, I'm already on the home page. But what I could do is I could put /search, right? It's going to show this. But if I click this, it takes me back to my homepage content. Now you'll notice again, right? Because I hit search up in the, it reloaded the entire page. So that's that nice seamless experience that the link component gives us. Everyone following so far? Everyone good? I see lots of thumbs ups, lots of head nodding. Cool. Let's see, what else do we want to do here?
Not really coding following. Just
Okay.
that's too much.
So let's take a look. We've got, let's compare it to what Bootstrap gives us. So we have a couple links here. One's disabled. We can get rid of that. What else? So we want to have 3 different links. And these are technically links, but instead of text, they're just icons. So let's actually, we'll just finish out putting the markup on our page. So at least we have stuff rendered. And then we'll work on styling those things. And we'll integrate Sass once we get to that point. So let me move this out to the side. This button is actually like the collapse, like the, whatchamacallit, that little hamburger menu thing. We could put it, as long as it's within this component, that's fine, but we want it all the way. Let's see how we have it designed here. So I do this, it's all the way to the right. So we want to make sure it stays all the way to the right. So that means whenever we put new links in here, we do want it to come after the button or before the button. So we're going to take this button. I'm just going to, well, actually, let's do this. This will be easier. We are going to get rid of this div. Is it this div? No, we don't want to get rid of that div. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Let's start by changing all of our anchor tags to links. Let's do that. That'll help us out. Do that. Change your anchor tags here. And this one as well. Well, this one is disabled, but we can get rid of that in a hurry. We'll just get rid of the disabled class off of there. That's just a Bootstrap example how to do that. We're also going to get rid of tab index. Tab index of -1 means you can't actually tab to it with using the keyboard. And since our link is not disabled, we can allow users to tab to that particular link. Cool. That's still rendering. That's good. Except now, instead of our hrefs, we want to have a 2. So home is to slash. Instead of link, see what do I have it labeled as shop. That's going to go to /search. Oops, sorry, that's a 2 prop. We want to get rid of the ARIA disabled because it's not disabled. And this one's going to go, this was the cart. I think it was the cart. No, it was the wiki. I'm sorry. Wiki. I believe I have that as just, yeah, /wiki. So we're going to go to /wiki. We still need to, configure that up so that way when we click on it, we actually go there. So we're going to save that. And let's just test this out. So if I go to home, I see home. Shop takes me to search. Wiki shows me nothing, as expected, right? And I can go between the 3. All right, very good. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this active. That's another Bootstrap example of how you can apply active styling. So you have to figure out the logic to apply that class. We're not going to worry about it. We're just going to leave it so that it, when you're clicking on it, that's the styling, right? We're not going to worry about the other stuff there. All right. So next, let's see what we got to do next here. We have to add in our other buttons, our other icons. And essentially what I'm going to do let's see how I have it set up here. I have it set up so that, and there's a good reason for this. I have the link for the brand name first. Next, I'm going to put the icons that show up on the right side of the screen with the search and the cart icon. The button for collapsing this thing is going to come next. And then we're going to have all the links here. So the reason it seems out of order is also I did have to kind of work around Bootstrap styling to get this to work the way I wanted it to. So I had to tweak this whole thing. But as you can see, just by copying HTML over, we are at a good starting point. We don't have to rewrite everything from scratch. We just have to tweak a few things. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in, and you can kind of just follow along with this, or I can paste this portion inside the chat. We want to do it that way.
Hey Joey, can you post this updated file in the
Yeah, I'm going to post this in chat.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, that's going to speed up our process a little bit. But before, actually, why don't I wait on the, I'll post it as is. And yeah, I'll post this. I'll do everything here. I'll go to Slack chat. Just because, yeah, it's gonna take a while to catch up with typing all these CSS classes and everything. This will just be easier. But as hopefully I was able to demonstrate, hopefully you get the concept, right? If it looks like HTML, you can put it in your JSX. With a few tweaks, you've got completely valid JSX. You can copy entire HTML documents and put it into JSX. With a little tweaking, you're good to go, right? All you have to do is fill in your specific data. Oh, good. Thank you, Caitlin. I just saw your message there.
It's okay. You're welcome.
Let's see. So I need to go. I'm going to put this in student pasted code. This is laggy. And name the file. Oh, what's going on? Hold on a second. Slack does not like me. A second here. There we go. Okay, this is header.js. All right, so that's now in Slack. So if you want to copy the whole thing and paste it in, we'll all be at the same point. Because typing out CSS classes can be awful. Don't get me wrong, I love CSS, but there's a lot you got to do with it, especially when you're working with frameworks like Bootstrap. We've got a lot of little classes that work just right. All right, so I'll give everyone a minute to grab that, paste it in so we're all on the same page. And then we're going to start implementing Sass into this. A couple things we want to do with that. Because while this nav bar looks kind of nice, it doesn't look exactly like the completed demo. So we want to get there. And this is a great opportunity to show you how to implement this. So give me a thumbs up when you've got the code from Slack pasted into your file and saved. Excellent.
The only caveat is that when I refresh the page, all I have up on the top nav menu, I have R&R on the left and I have the hamburger on the right. Nothing else is showing.
Then
And all I did was copy and paste the whole thing. I mean, is that just the changes you put in Slack or the whole file?
It's the whole file.
So that I just went boom. So it should work.
But this is just the header, Carolyn, so it shouldn't have messed up your homepage at all or your layout.
You should be in header.js.
Okay, so if I'm looking at it in the web browser, localhost 3000/header.
This is what you should see.
Right, but I don't have Home Shop or Wiki.
Um,
That's what I'm saying.
Where did you paste the code? though?
yeah, so you haven't pasted it in header.js then.
Yes. I
Then
did.
it should definitely be showing. Otherwise, you may not have, do you have like the layout JS file and all of that?
I have everything.
Then this should be working.
And it's working more than it was, but I'm not getting some of those parts. All right.
Okay, that means the link is probably not rendering for you. Well, if R&R is rendering, then link should be rendering.
Yeah, and the hamburger.
Oh, if you're seeing the hamburger, your screen is like, you're like this. Expand your screen
Oh,
out.
that's why. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Good old, now that's not very good responsive design if it doesn't show up. Just teasing.
Well, actually, this is great responsive design. It's based on your screen size. So,
But Home Shop and Wiki should jump under the R&R, or are they now in the hamburger?
well, they would technically be in the hamburger.
Okay, we're good.
We
we're
haven't
good. I'm
wired
just
any
kidding.
of that. Yeah, that's not completely wired up there.
I was just kidding anyway. I'm not really ragging on you.
Oh, okay.
I have no right to. You know way more than I do about this stuff.
All right. So everyone's good so far? That's good. Awesome. So let's do this. We're going to go down to our terminal, Control C. We're going to stop our server. And we're going to install a package for SAS, for working with SAS files. Now, the way to do this is we simply, I already know this package name. Let me grab that. Make sure I'm grabbing the right version. And make sure I spell it right. Okay, so here we're going to say npm install space -- save space node - SAS. Enter. And that's going to install a package so that Create React App knows how to handle SAS files. Now, Create React App already is on the lookout for different types of CSS files, whether it's CSS, SAS, or less. We just need to install the package that allows Create React App to say, oh, I know what to do with those now. I'm not just going to ignore them anymore.
I just have a little question. I noticed that your command line prompt is a $.
Yep.
And a lot of us, I think we have like a %. Does that have anything? Does that matter? Does
It's
that-
however your computer was set up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then
I'd much
you can-
rather have the money though.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
take the
don't we all?
$sign than the %.
Yeah, so you can change that. There's ways to change it, but that's just what I've got. Okay, so that is done for me. If I come over to the header folder, I'm going to create a new file in here. Did it install correctly, or did it finish installing? See lots of heads. Okay, cool. So go to header folder, create a new file. It's going to be the same name as the JavaScript file, except that the extension is going to be SCSS.
Excuse me, if I just have the cursor below the npm install, etc., is it still running?
No, if you see, well, you should see how many vulnerabilities it found, and then run npm audit, blah, 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 right here on the screen.
You can view.
If all you have is the cursor, like this, and you can type stuff, right? So if it told you that the packages were installed, then you're good.
Yeah, I have a cursor, but there's no prompt before it.
Right, you shouldn't have.
Note the development build is not optimized to create a production run npm run build.
Okay, did you stop the server?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And then
Control C. I mean, yeah.
Yep. And then to npm install -- save node - SAS.
Yes.
Okay. So
Was
at that
basic.
point, Yeah, so if you see this, you should be good.
But I just have that solid rectangle. I don't have my percent sign or whatever to the left of it.
Okay, it sounds like your server's still running.
Okay. I'll let him be
Yes.
happy.
Well, you have to stop the server in order to install the package properly, though.
But
Did you do Control C or Command C? Because it has to be
Control C, yes. I mean, this is kind of old hat.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if I keep hitting Control C, I'm out, right? And I
Right.
should, at this point, I should be able to say like npm -- version, and I should see my npm version. Can you do that?
It just gives me that rectangle again. There's nothing
Okay,
else.
then that's your development server is probably still running.
Yikes, all right. If I do Control C, should I then maybe just kill the terminal and start over?
Well, no, I mean,
Okay, I'll try again. That's cool.
and this is sorry, this may sound like redundant, but next to your FN key, that's the control key you're using, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, Control and Command are not the same thing.
right.
I'm used to a PC, so I've had to change my brain. But
Yeah,
no,
so
Control, yep.
so that's
Control
interesting.
C. Well, what I have now, after doing Control C, I have my path that, and I've got my percent sign and my solid rectangle ready
Okay.
to go. So I'm going to try and do this again and see what happens. So
Yeah.
npm space install space -- save, no spaces, space node -sass. That's it.
SASS. Yep.
SASS. Yep. Okay.
So now, what was that? Okay, so in the header folder, we want to create a file called H header.scss. That's the extension for Sass, and you should see a little symbol that looks like a fancy cursive S.
Here we go. All
All
right.
right, so if you're seeing that, then VS Code is like, oh, you've got a Sass file. That's cool. And we can treat this just like a CSS file, but we have some flexibility. Now, if I look at my notes real quick. So what we're going to do is we're just going to throw some quick styles on here. And we can keep this like this. That's fine. And then if you remember inside, I got to move my screen sharing thing. Is my screen still sharing for you guys? Okay, Good. I didn't close it out. All right. So in header.js, if you notice at the top, we wrapped everything in header. Right. So we designate that this is the start of our header markup. So we can target that in the CSS file. So we could say .header, just like any other class. Open and close curly braces. And then whatever we write in here, it's just like normal CSS. So we'll put a border bottom with 1 px solid, and we'll say light gray. Save that. Now we won't see those changes yet because we stopped our server. So we need to come back down here, type npm start again. So go ahead and do that. It's installing. That's good. Well, I think I know why your Control C wasn't working. I don't think you were actually in your terminal. It may not have been, the terminal might not have been active when you hit Control C. Just realize that now. Let's see. Yeah, don't worry about the deprecation warnings at this point. Again, this is just a learning project. We're not worried about that stuff right now. So as long as it finished, then you should be good to go. Sometimes it takes a little while. So it still shows the active bar. All right, so for you, it could be your network connection. Maybe whatever server you're connecting from in NPM could be a little slow, unfortunately. Yeah, I think that's what's going on there. All right, so now that this is up, we can't really see our border, but we can test to see if we actually have it there. Let's inspect. I'm going to take a look at this element here. I don't, let's see, this was on, I want to go to the header. I don't see my styles just yet. Why's that? Hold on 1 second. Make sure I install all the right stuff. Yeah, definitely do that. Oh, you know what I need to do, I think I need to hard refresh maybe. Oh, of course. I know why it's not showing. If I go into header.js, okay, I define the class, right? I have the class file here. But how do I tell? I'm skipping ahead of myself. How do I know that this should be styled with this? What do I need to do inside header.js to tell it to use those styles? Yeah, we need to link it, right? I didn't import it. I've got ahead of myself. So when we're importing our styles, we just come up to the top of the file, import, and we just need to give it a path. So /header.scss. And that's going to say, hey, that style sheet, yeah, I'll load it into this file. So when it renders, all those things should be applied appropriately. And if you notice, here's my border. Looks terrible right now, right? But I can see it. Clearly see our borders there now. Right here. Everyone see that? Cool. Hopefully you see it on your screen too.
It's ever so slight and faint. It's very sneaky.
Yes. So let's start working with some more styles here. So let's get rid of this gray background because this just looks awful, right? It doesn't even match. It's not even, doesn't even go down far enough. So what I'm going to do is move this over a little bit so we can see it on the screen as we're working. And if you remember with CSS, in order to select like down into your kind of your DOM tree, if I wanted to select this thing right here, first I need to know what I need to target in order to get rid of that. So we need to figure out what is giving us this gray background. So let's inspect that. What element is doing that? I'll look at my styles. So right here. All right, if I shrink my text just a little bit, is that still okay? Still okay, good. Just because I need to be able to see this.
Do you
Let's
mind
see.
just moving your browser window to the right a bit? Because I still want to get the rest of the code that's in the CSS, if I could, just ever so quickly.
There we go.
Oh, I see. You can't because there's a, never mind. Good old Zoom. Thank you.
So here's our header. We know that doesn't have the gray background because we styled that ourselves. So it's got to be coming from Bootstrap. So if I click this, well, this one has some classes. There's a nav bar. It looks like here's the background color right here. If I uncheck that, yep, that's the thing I need to target. Which class? I need to target the BG-light class. Whatever element that class is on, that's what I need to target. So up in here, now with typical CSS, like regular just CSS, I would say dot header. Oops, where is my, go, dot header, space, dot BG-light. right? Because what this is doing is saying, hey, inside a header element, whatever's inside there that has a BG light, I want to target that one next, right? So in here, I could say background dash color. We'll make it white. And because Bootstrap is very, very, very tenacious, this isn't going to work. We have to tell it, oh yeah, I really want it to be white. So with Bootstrap, unfortunately, you have to use a lot of bang importance. So exclamation point importance. That's going to definitely overwrite what Bootstrap is doing. And as you can see, it's now white. It's not gray anymore, right? So if I were to leave off importance and leave it like that, there's Bootstrap being tenacious. So yeah, so if you want to overwrite a lot of Bootstrap stuff, you kind of have to use the important keyword, unfortunately. But we're at where we're at, and we're starting to like this right here. So, but now with regular CSS, this kind of gets cumbersome, right? Like I said, header, then I said header space this. Using Sass, you can nest these different class selectors in such a way that it mimics your HTML markup of where it exists within that tree, that DOM tree. So in here, I could actually just, let me just cut this out and get rid of this. Inside my header, I'm gonna go down a couple lines, make sure I'm with inside the curly braces of header selector. And I'm going to say .bg-light. And I'm going to put my style in there. Now Sass, when it gets compiled to CSS that the browser understands, because this is like it's called a preprocessor. It's kind of like JSX is to regular JavaScript. It has to be compiled down to something the browser understands. So Sass is not natively a browser can't natively access Sass. At least not in their current form. I don't know if they will in the future or not. It knows CSS. So Sass takes whatever you write and compiles it down to CSS. And according to Sass, what this says is it says, hey, for the header selector, do this stuff. But for header space this, do this. So you're nesting your CSS class selectors the same way that you're nesting your HTML elements or your HTML tags. So you can think about it that way. This saves us a lot of typing over time. And looking at it, we can clearly see a structure, right? So here's my parent, here's the child, right? So it mimics the same structure. And this is one of the benefits of Sass, and Less does the same thing too. You can nest things just like this. And when it gets processed out, you'll have a header and you'll have a header space BG-light. Make sense? Cool. So now that we have that, and we can clearly see that it's working because our background is white. And there's a couple other styles we're going to put in here so that when we get to the markup, they'll be there. So after BG-light, we're going to add navbar-toggler. We're going to do border none. We don't want the border around the toggler thing. You can see it went away over here if you're watching the screen. If you watch your screen, you can see that go away. We're going to do .icon-link. We're going to do color. And if you want, I can paste this into the Slack if you want to do that, because it does kind of get tedious, like I said. This is like an opacity. In fact, let me finish typing this out and I'll just paste it into Slack for you guys. In fact, I already have the completed file, so I'm going to do that. And then I'll paste this into Slack. Just because typing CSS just takes so long. And I think you guys get the idea, right? Yeah. All right, cool. So pasted code, we're going to put, oops, header.scss. There you go. There's the styles. linking to header CSS breaks my page. So you're definitely using the import statement.
Yeah, it looks the same as yours. It just doesn't work. It broke.
Did your node SAS finish installing?
Yeah, I should be in the regular. No, it said failed to compile. It's not what I'm seeing. So I don't know.
Let's see. Let me do.
I thought it was done before. Maybe it wasn't.
It probably didn't finish.
Oh,
Yeah, so it probably doesn't know how to compile that.
so just do over.
Yeah, I would stop the server and install node SAS again.
Okay.
You need the command for that?
No, I can find it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, and then restart the server after that's done. And that should probably take care of that for you. All right, so we're coming up on close to break time. Let's see what we've got left here. So we've got our SAS working. We've got it applied to our page. The rest of it is really just kind of tweaking as we go along. And I need to get this working as well. So we can go over that. Let's see, what else do we need? Oh, right. So the other thing we want to add to this, if we look at this, see our styles are just a little bit different, but that's because we still need to do a couple more tweaks. Over here, we have some icons that are also links, right? So let's pull in some icons. In fact, everyone, this is a great time for everyone to stop their development server again. So go definitely click inside your terminal, do a Control-C, stop the server, and we're going to install another package. And this is going to be the Font Awesome package. So has anyone ever heard of Font Awesome? I see some enthusiastic head nodding. So that's cool. Yeah, so Font Awesome's awesome because they have fonts for, or they have like icons for like anything you could really need. Their paid version, like their pro version, you have even more, like more icons that you can shake a stick at. So, so to get those, we're going to figure out how to install it. Now they do have an NPM module that we can install. Another way to do it is to link it with link tags inside your HTML, but you have to have like API keys and all kinds of stuff going on. We can just import it as an NPM module and we can use it that way. So if we go over to, well, let me pull it up. So Font Awesome. All right, so I want to start. There's different ways I can do this. Other ways to use it. Look, there's one for NPM. And if we follow this stuff here, we'll be able to do what we need to do. So here's all of the commands. Now they have instances for Yarn, but you can also use NPM install like we're doing here. Now I already have the different packages saved, so we don't need to read through this whole thing. But essentially what you do is read through their documentation. You're going to see which packages you need to install, and then just basically follow it from start to finish. That's all I did when I started this project. I just went through this document and I just followed the steps. So to save us all time from reading and doing all that stuff, I'll paste the npm install command that you're going to need into Slack so that we can all, so we don't have to read this whole page. We already know we're going to use Font Awesome. We already know that it's available on npm. So we're going to skip right to the install. I'm going to grab those package names. And then I'll first type it here. So it'll be an npm install -- save. We're going to need this one. We're going to need this one. We're going to need this one. So I'm going to, oops, let that install. I'm going to copy this. In fact, I may need to start that over. Because I think I had to add a semicolon at the end. It might not, I don't know if it's going to ignore that or not, so I don't want to take a chance. So I'm going to paste this into older versions, version 7. Oh, interesting. Okay. So Susan, that's an interesting error.
Yeah, I gave you the top and the bottom of the whole big file. I didn't do the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, take up quite a bit, I'm sure. This library is no longer supported. That's okay. That's interesting. Github created a request, npm error code 1. So why, when we're on break, if you have a few minutes, we're on break, while we're on break, maybe you could share and we could try to walk through that.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is for installing font awesome npm packages. So there's the command you need to copy and paste into your terminal, hit enter, and that should install the relevant font awesome packages. Looks like mine just finished. Oh, okay. That's not working. Oh no, I see. Okay. All right, so while that is installing, in fact, this might be a good time to take that break, because depending on your network, you may have, or which server you're pulling down from, you may see some lagging here with the install. So why don't we take a break now? It's probably a good time to take it anyways. And let's say we come back at, let's say 7:25. How's that sound for everyone? Sound good? All right, so we'll come back at 7:25, and then we will work on utilizing Font Awesome in our page, and we'll get some more styling going, finish up the header. Sound good? All right, cool. So we'll see you all back at 7:25. All right. Do that. Okay. Okay, so Susan, do you want to tackle that right now?
Yeah.
Or did you want to take a quick break first?
No, I'm okay. If you're okay. I don't know
Okay.
if you need a break.
Yeah, so why don't we share your screen?
Okay.
And let's see if we can figure this out. Cool. Let's go to VS Code.
I think I controlled C out of it already though.
Yeah, I see your cursor, so that's good. Do a Command K. So we got that cleared up. And then let's see. Do me a quick favor, and inside your folder pane with all your files, scroll down till you find package.json. Yeah, right there. Click that. It definitely didn't install it, so that's good. It should be good here. Okay, let's try that. I want to see this again as it goes. So we'll do npm, install -- save. And then node -sass.
SASS.
SASS, yep.
Like that.
Scroll, can you make the terminal window just a little bit, a little bit bigger?
Yeah.
And let's scroll up till we get to just before the npm errors start showing up. Wow, okay, so Homebrew. I'm wondering if see here. Oh, that's the top right there. So it's probably the wrong code one. That's really interesting. Let's just put that. I'm a little stumped here. Let's do this. Do another Command K. And we'll just do npm space install. Let's just run that real quick. I want to make sure that whatever packages are in there now
Or what we want.
yeah, they are what we want. Let's see right here. New minor version of npm available. Oh, let's do this. Do npm space -- version.
Enter.
Enter. 7.6. What do I have? I have 6.14. You have a later version than I do. Okay, now that we've run npm install, hit up a couple times on the up key. Let's get back to the node sass. Let's try that again, just for giggles here. If you scroll down, I'm thinking we're gonna see. What are we gonna see? We're gonna see errors again. Interesting. I think we're gonna need some assistance from. I wonder if Max knows what this is.
Okay. As long as it's not anything I did.
No, it's.
Because I usually don't have trouble with any of the NPM stuff. It always works. So.
Yeah, that's really.
I mean, if it's not working now, I'm okay to fix it whenever someone's available and just keep following along in class.
Yeah. Even if you wanted to just follow along with just typing out some of the code, your styles might not look the same as what's on the screen.
Well, yeah, it doesn't work. This is what happens on this.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's because of the import for the SAS file. So we'd have to comment that line out.
Okay.
So inside your header.js file.
Yeah, just
in the header.js file.
Oh, JS, yeah.
Yeah, you can just comment that line out. And then that if you go down, save that, and then go down to your terminal and do an npm start, you shouldn't get that compile warning anymore. It's just you won't have the styles that we have until
this is sorted.
Yeah, until we sort that out.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's okay.
Yeah, let me ask around on that one. That's interesting. I wonder if it's like a version conflict with the version of npm you have, which doesn't make, I don't know. We have to see what other people are using, what versions they have. Yeah, we'll get on it. We'll figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
So for now, yeah, take a break and we'll see you back.
I'll just follow. Yeah, I'll just follow along. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. All right, so everyone should have had the, did your npm install save you the Font Awesome packages? Did that finish running for everyone? All right, cool. So now we can just type npm start again if you haven't already. We'll relaunch our development server. Okay. All right, looks like still, there we go, still loading, there we go. So now let's start pulling those things in. Now, of course, you have to read through the documentation of how to actually use their components. And the one way that I found that works without, it's the least stressful way, is to import their base, like font icon component. We're going to rename it as icon because typing font awesome icon out all the time just gets kind of old. And again, it's that whole thing where we renamed like browser router over to router just to make it easy on ourselves. Same thing here. So what we're going to do.
You need to share your screen.
What we need to do is share my screen. Thank you. All right, so now you should be able to see my code editor.
Excuse me, Joey.
Yeah.
All we type is npm start, nothing else?
That's all we have to do right now.
Because the same thing happened that happened to me before with the filter compile and the, so we'll deal with that later. All right, thank you.
Okay. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to import curly braces because Font Awesome uses named exports. So Font Awesome icon from, it's going to be the @ symbol, and you can see it show up right in here. There's the Fort Awesome / React-Font Awesome. That's the one we want. We're going to pull in that. Give us some more working space here. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to rename this because we don't want to type out Font Awesome icon all over the place. So we're going to say as just icon. So from now on, for the rest of this file, our component from Font Awesome will be called icon. The next thing we need to do is pull in some of the icons we want to use from their library. We're going to import and then open close curlies from this free solid SVG icons package. Now, if we start typing in here after we do this import statement, we should be able to see some stuff show up. So Font Awesome icons are always prefaced in this package with FA for Font Awesome. And there's a whole slew of these things, right? So for our project, we want the magnifying glass, which is FA search. So I can start searching for that by typing it out. Here I can see it right here. So I want that one. And I also want a shopping cart icon. So fortunately, they call theirs shopping cart. I want shopping cart. Look, they got a couple other ones. I'll pull those in. All right, so now we have their basic icon component, and we have references to the different icon SVG files that they provided to us. So now what we can do is let's just get one of these things to show up first. So we'll put one in our link next to the brand, right? So here we're just going to say icon. It's going to be self-closing. And their component takes a prop called icon. And what we want to do is we want to give it one of these icons. So I'll just do the search. We need to evaluate this because this is something we're importing. So we're gonna do that. We'll save that. And you notice here, now we have an icon showing up. So all we did was use their icon component, pass it one of their icon files, and that's it. We got an icon. Now from here, we can style it however we want by targeting it with CSS. We can change the color, the size, all these different things. So we're just going to leave it as is for now. I believe in here. Yeah, so it looks like there are some, I created some fonts to style these things. So now we have to give it the, basically the right classes to different components.
Let it so both of your codes are showing. I don't know if the screen is big enough if the browser's there.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to keep size relevant here.
Oh, never mind, because we're using the terminal. I was going to suggest pulling it down instead of the other way.
Oh, for the style. Well, the style file is already done. We don't need to touch that. So we just need to see the. Actually, we just need to see this. All we need to see is header.js and our browser. Everyone seeing an icon show up? Cool. So now we can do, we can do this however many times we want. We can change our icons. We can pull in different icons, whatever's available to us for the free version. Unless you want to pay for it, you can use those as well. All right. So pretty easy to do. Now we just need to plug them in the right places. So let's get rid of that. And I'm going to scroll down here past all of these links. We find my open and closing tags. And let's create those links on, I'm going to open this up a little bit wider to get rid of the hamburger menu so we can see these things show up. And I'm going to start typing out some elements here. So I'm going to start with a div. And if follow along with this if you want, or at the end if you want to just, I can copy and paste this into the Slack chat if you want, if you're having issues catching up with the typing. So I'm going to have a div that's going to encompass all of these different elements. And I'm going to do something similar to what Bootstrap's already doing. So if you notice, their links are in unordered list elements with very specific class names. That's one of their styles. So we're going to do the same thing down here. We're going to have an unordered list. We're going to have some list item elements inside our list element, or list icon, or list item element. We're going to have a link, because remember, when we click those icons, we want to be transferred to another page. In order to do that, we put the icon inside a link so that when we click the link, or we'll click the icon, we're actually clicking on the link. So inside the link, we'll have our icon. And the first one will be the search one, so FA search. I'll save that real quick. I can see it showing up over here. The styles don't look so great, but it's definitely there. So we're on the right track. And then we're going to create another list item. I can just copy this, paste it underneath. So I've got two list items. I'll just change this to FA shopping cart. There we go. Now from here, of course, I need to tell the links where to go. So the first one is going to be going to /search. The second one, there's cart, is going to go to, probably guess, /cart. We haven't created the cart page yet, but once we do, we already have the link to be able to get there. So now to test this out, click on these. I can verify that it's actually taking me to the different routes that I can see up in here in the browser, or in the URL, in the address bar. Everyone good with that? So now let's add some styles to make this thing look more like what we want it to. So for Bootstrap, we need to add a style to the div. So the class name will be, now this one, eventually we'll get the hamburger menu working at some point, but for today, I just want to focus on just getting the basic functionality down. And we can worry about styling the hamburger menu and all that later. It gets really tedious, and it'll probably take an hour just to do that. So I'd rather just get going with more functionality. So for now, we're just going to style this one for the larger like desktop view, and we'll work on the mobile hamburger view at another time. So for desktop, we want to add class D-none. The D stands for display, and none means it's not going to display at all. But if you don't give D- a size, it just assumes it's going to be the smallest size possible, which mobile, right? So, but for a medium and up, which is like a desktop type of view, we do D-MD for medium-sized screens. And on medium-sized screens, we want a display property of block, which is going to display it on the screen, and any elements after it will be handled appropriately. So that's what we want to display there. Again, our style hasn't really changed yet. All we did is decide that. So if I were to go down to like a small size, they disappeared, right? Hamburger menu took its place because now we're on a small screen. So on a medium-sized display, it'll show for us because we gave it that specific Bootstrap property. So I don't know how much you delved into all the different Bootstrap conventions, but you're going to see this convention a lot where you have the type of property or the shortcut for the property, dash the size, oops, and then dash whatever the value is supposed to be. So this is a very common Bootstrap convention. So for the UL element, we'll give that a class name. That's going to be, according to Bootstrap, it should be navbar-nav. Save that. You can already see it's starting to look a little better. They're side by side now. So it knows to render it in line instead of underneath each other. So for our list elements, class name, it's going to be nav-item. And then our link, this is a class that we define, which is nav-link. Is that the one I want? Oh, right, because their anchor tags use nav-link. So we want our links to use their Bootstrap convention as well. So you can see this one already changed color. So it's already within that Bootstrap convention right now. Okay. And then basically at this point, we just need to copy these classes down to these elements. So this link class down to this link. Now it looks like our finished product already. So all we did was give it some Bootstrap styles. So it adheres to their convention for color and placement and display types. But it has our functionality and our imports from Font Awesome. Did all this make sense? Do you need me to copy paste this? Anyone? Yep. Okay. So I'm just going to copy the whole thing. This is header.js. Oop, I spell header right. All right, so that's in the pasted code chat. If you want to grab that, get on the same page. This is all making sense, right? We're just creating things that look like HTML, but we're plugging in certain portions that use our React elements like link and icon.
Yeah, it's really cool. I have a quick question.
Yep.
On the class names.
Yes.
You've got cart in lowercase, search in lowercase. I'm not really clear on that, why it's lowercase.
These?
Yeah.
This is the route we're going to give our URL.
Mhm.
The convention is to use lowercase.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah, it's just the convention.
It's like part of the path of it. So, all right, thank
Yeah.
you. I'm gonna plug in my laptop here.
In fact, depending on, so if I were to do all capitals, it worked, but you see what happened? It changed it back.
Yeah, it won't let you.
Right. So this
Thank you.
particular project is not set up to honor capitalization in the URL. It's just going to be everything's going to be lowercase, right? There are ways to configure that on the server level. So whatever hosting platform you end up going with for any of your projects, you can configure it through your host to whether or not you want to honor capitalization or not. I have it enabled on one of my, so I have a photography side business with my wife, and our FTP server honors capitalization. So it's on, it was on, and I never took it off, so I left it on. I just got used to it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I just want to know where it's coming from. So I understand that when we downloaded Font Awesome, we did like the NPM package and stuff like that. But how did you know like where to import it from, like the Fort Awesome / Free Solid SVG or the React Font Awesome? Like, how did you get those names? Where did you find it, I should say?
I read the documentation on Font Awesome's site, basically.
Okay.
So I did all the reading ahead of time.
Yeah,
I'm
because
just
we didn't
showing
do
you
that
how
in
to
class. I
implement-
just want to know where you
Yeah,
found them.
so what
I
you do is
knew.
you go to all these bookmarks for Cohort 2. At the end of this, I can share all my bookmarks if you want.
Yeah, we actually have a resources page on Slack if you wanted to post them there.
Oh, you know what? I can post these right in the right in Google Classroom on the resources, like
Yeah, that's
assignment. Yeah. So if we go to fontawesome.com.
okay. Because I just want to know like how to do this like when we're on our own.
Yeah, so you just go to start. How do I start using this package, right? Scroll down to the method you want to use. I can download it. If I want to serve it up myself, which I don't, I just want to use theirs. I'm going to use NPM package. So I know if it's from NPM, I'm going to be importing it, right? So I go into here, and then I can figure out how to import it in here, how to set it up. And then
Okay.
also,
So this was the part where you were like, oh, you guys don't have to worry about this. We're gonna do it
yeah, on the
Okay.
right-hand side here, you notice right over here, using Font Awesome with Angular, Ember, less. Oh, there's React. I went to the React documentation, and I just basically did what they told me to do, right here.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I was just wondering like where
Yep.
you knew how to get the name and stuff like that, but that makes sense.
All right, cool. Any other questions so far for Font Awesome, or does everyone have the latest header.js stuff pasted in their file?
I had a couple of questions before the break that are in the chat.
Oh, the chat. I closed the chat for some reason. Paste the Bootstrap static navbar. That's the header.js file, so we already did that. So that's what's pasted currently in Slack. The existing code for it's also the same thing as header.js. And the thing that I customized essentially is pasted. What I did was I changed, I got rid of like some little form element that they had in the header. And I also changed a couple styles. So I wrapped everything in a header div. And I used that as an entry point into selecting all the different things I wanted to style through my stats file.
And I'll see that when I really look at the pasted
Yeah,
file.
and when you paste it in, you'll have all of that.
Yeah, and it hadn't been pasted before break, so that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, and I believe
Thank you.
I did paste header.css,
Mhm.
so you should have both of them.
Thank you.
All right, cool. So now that we have our basic header, while some of this is still a little wonky, let's fix some of that while we're at it. So we're going to come down to these right here. And let's see, what did I do over here? So you notice that this whole div also has a class of navbar-collapse. Technically, what's supposed to happen when you click this is a little drop-down menu comes down and it shows it there, and it changes the style so that instead of them being left to right, they're up and down. I'm already importing the Bootstrap JS file, so I'm a little confused on why that is not actually doing that. So I will have to figure that out, but I'm not going to take a class doing that. I'll figure it out tonight, and then I can report back tomorrow on that. But for now, let's maybe get these centered. We'll start with that there. So we want to focus on these 3 items here. So these 3 links. And let's see, what classes did I already figure out here? So the unordered list item. Make sure I'm in the right spot. Oh, one other thing I did take out when I was working on the application, this class name with this div with class name container-fluid, that's what's giving us all this extra space that our finished product doesn't have. The mockups that I was going off of when I was building this, those are the mockups that Christy Pressler provided in the very beginning with the little handbag website example. If you remember that, it was called like Handmade or something like that. So I took that basic mockup and created the site off of that. I just happened to use different images because those are Shopify owns those images. So I didn't want us all using their images. So I created something a little bit different using free images that are out there. So we want to get rid of this div. But before we do that, we have to make sure we're getting rid of it from the right spot. So if I were to collapse this, you can see this exists between the nav icon, or sorry, nav tags. So I want to get rid of this one. I'm going to come down here and get rid of the one. You see it's already highlighting it for me. One just before the closing nav. Save that. All right, so you notice some padding changed. A couple things happened there. I didn't fix that. But now we got to work on this a little bit. And inside here, this unordered list right here, I'm not sure what ME auto does, but I noticed there's also, so this MB, there's some more styles right here. We're going to get rid of those. And instead, after navbar-nav, we're going to say MR-auto, which is margin right auto. Oh, so MB would have been bottom. And then also ML-auto. Save that. You notice how everything went to the center. So in Bootstrap, a lot of their elements use a display type of flex. So did you guys learn about Flexbox at all? So the way Flexbox works is if you have elements in a Flexbox that have a margin left, right, top, or whatever of auto, it's going to figure out automatically how much space is between the next element to the left of it, and the next element to the right of it, or whichever margin side auto you want to put on, right? So I said, hey, everything to the right, so margin right, automatically figure that out. And at the same time, automatically figure out how much margin I need to the left to push this element away from any other elements that are in this particular Flexbox. In this case, it says, well, if I have margin left of auto and margin right of auto, it's going to center it for me. So that's one way to center things using their convention. There's other ways to do it. If you write Flexbox, you could say justify-content equals center, right? So there's different Flexbox class properties you can append to your elements to do that. Since we're already in Bootstrap, we're going to use their convention. These are just things you'll get used to as you're using different frameworks like Bootstrap. The other thing we want to do is kind of spread these things out a little bit. They're a little too close. So each list item, for the first one, after nav item, we'll give it some margin to the right. So MR-MD Remember, we're on a medium and up size display, -5. That adds 5 units of margin according to Bootstrap. So that split that out. And then on the, let's see, on the shop one, on that LI, we'll do ML-MD-5 and MR-MD-5. So we're going to use 5 units of margin on the left and right side of that one. Now we just need to add some more margin units between this one here. To do that, we'll go back to the last LI item and do ML-MD-5. So margin left, medium-sized screen, 5 more units of margin. So now, this header, let me grab my other browser, wherever it went, looks just like this one, except for that padding in here. That's okay, we can fix this as we go along. In fact, if I make this the same size, everything lines up perfectly, other than this annoying margin at the bottom. All right, let's get rid of that. Cool, so we styled that, so that's pretty good. Let's see, how did I get rid of that margin? Well, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. I think you get the idea, right? So you're just adding classes to what looks like to be HTML elements, which is really just JSX. Underneath the hood, React is saying, okay, create a div for me in the DOM, create a UL and LI, a link, which is compiled down to an anchor tag with some other logic wrapped around it, compile that down into the DOM for me, create some HTML elements for me. So React's doing all the hard stuff for us. We're just telling it what we want to display. The same thing we tell with HTML, what we want to display. All right, and with that, our nav bar is basically done, other than the mobile one, but we can worry about that later. Any questions on this, or is this you guys feeling good about what we're doing so far? Is it helping? Cool, lots of thumbs up, lots of head nodding, love it. All right, so where are we at time? We got about another 40-ish minutes. So what can we work on next? Oh, so let's do some more practice on getting other pages to display. So right now, I have a home page. Home page is basically done, other than we don't have a footer created yet. All this home page really is just to just test our test API, our shop page, which is our search page. And we're just calling it shop. So we have that technically created. We just haven't filled it out yet. We don't have our wiki yet. We also don't have our cart page. So since wiki is already a created thing, let's get that working next. So we can actually see as we start working on data, which we should be getting to at some point tomorrow, let's actually get our wiki up so we can actually see how we can interact with that data. So let's come over here. Now, wiki, like I said, already exists, just like homepage already existed when you started the project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse that down. I'm going to collapse my folder so I can see where I'm at. And if you remember, our layout.js file is where we defined all of our routes for the different page content we want to display. So we're definitely going to need one for the wiki, so that when we click the link to go to /wiki, we'll have a route in place so that we can render that component. So we'll put that right in the middle. Why not? So we'll create a new route component. Path is to /wiki. And now we need the wiki component to be rendered inside this route. And to find that, if you notice, outside of the components folder, so in source, there's wiki, and there's that component folder's empty. That's fine. Wiki.js is right here. So our path to get to it is source, wiki, wiki.js. So from here, to import that, we're going to import, and I'm pretty sure it's a named import. Yep, it's a named or a named export, I should say. So inside our layout.js file, we're going to import wiki from, now we're inside the layout folder, so we need to go up one. Now we're inside the components folder, so we need to go up another one. Now we're inside the source folder. Cool. So now we can go down to wiki. And inside here, we can find our wiki.js file. We got that. Cool. Now inside of our route, when we go to wiki, there's our wiki. So when I click wiki, did that refresh? There we go. So home, shop, wiki. It was still compiling. And from here, there's all of our endpoint data. So again, inside layout.js file. Oh, I set a breakpoint for some reason. That's weird. That's probably why I was doing that. So inside our layout.js file, we imported wiki with this relative path. Go up 2 directories, go down into wiki, grab wiki.js. We render it inside of our new route. Everyone got that? See lots of head nodding. And so if you click on wiki up here, you should be able to see that now. Thumbs ups for that. Can't see everyone's screen, so.
And Joy,
Cool.
does it take a little bit to pop in? This is what's telling you. Does it pop in after a little bit? Mine's not.
Yeah, I had to just refresh my browser.
Okay, I'll try that. Thank you.
Yeah, just do a quick refresh on that. Let's see. It's probably because I made a new route when the route didn't exist in the previous like cache for the browser. So that's probably why you had to. So when you refreshed, did it show up? Okay.
Not just yet, but it's okay.
Okay. All right. So now that we have that, we have the only thing left to do is to create an empty cart page placeholder. So let's do that next. So we're going to close, let's see, we're going to close header.js. We're going to keep layout open because we need that. And inside our components folder, we're going to create a cart page folder. New folder, cart page, capital C, capital P. Inside there, create a new file, cartpage.js. And although we're not really using it yet, we're going to create a cartpage.scss. And then from here, we're just going to create our placeholder component. So we're going to export const cart page. Same thing we've been doing. And we'll just return some markup. Just say cart page component. Whatever you want to put in there, just to get something on the screen. So inside cart page.js, we're just exporting a new placeholder component. Oh, Caitlin, I just saw your message. So flex n.
I think that's what it means.
It sounds about right. We'll go with that.
Taking a wild guess there, but that's what they do.
Makes sense. It looks like a duck.
The simplest answer is usually the right one.
Yeah. All right. So in layout, we're going to import our new cart page component. Import cart page from, we're going to go up a folder into cart page and go into our cart page file, pull out our cart page component. We need to add a new route. Make sure my order is right. And we'll do it above wiki. That's just how I have it notated out over here. Path equals /cart, not cat, cart. And then we'll render our cart page component. Just like that. Refresh over here just in case. You notice I'm already at cart. It's already showing me my component. There's my wiki, search page, home page, cart page. Thumbs up when you're there. Oops, sorry. All right, so everyone have that? Cool. Lots of thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, so from here, really what we need to do is we need to start figuring out what's going to be on these pages and what all the different types of other components we're going to need for those pages. So for the remainder of class today, I don't want to get too deep into the next component. I'd rather all us be at the same place starting tomorrow. And then also there's some other issues that are kind of outstanding that I'll have to try to figure out. But we can at least look at our other completed application to see what type of things we think we want to create. Let me pull that over. We have our application here. Just slap some stuff on my other screen so I don't get confused. We're definitely going to take a look at what we would need on the search page. We'll start there. So if we go to if I go to shop, it's a bunch of stuff going on here, right? And some of the things I'm going to need is, well, the obvious one is a place to display all of my different products that I'm selling, right? All these different vacation packages or whatever I want to sell. So I'm going to need a place for that. And that's typically called like a search grid, right? So after you go to a search page, everything gets displayed typically on a grid type of system, whether it's 2 spaces wide or 4. This is some sort of grid. Now, Bootstrap already has a grid system built into it, so that's perfect for us. We'll end up using that. The other thing we need is we need a search input. Now, the search input is we're going to keep this as a completely separate component from other things because there's a little bit of functionality built into this thing. So we're going to keep that separate. We also have, well, other than the search page itself, we also have these options here. So we have these search options. We have filters, a sorting mechanism. So those are other things that we're going to have to wire up. And since they're basically the same type of thing, one just filters and one sorts, different data is going to go back to our endpoint. We'll keep those in the same component. So we know we need a search input, search options, and a search grid, in addition to, of course, our search page component. So the search page, just like layout encompasses a whole bunch of different components, our search page component is going to render all of these components. So now that we have an idea for that, let's plan for that. Let's actually start putting in some folder structure just to give ourselves some clues for when we come back. So underneath components, in our search page folder, well, actually, what we can do is we can just create the placeholder. We already have a search page folder. So everything that exists on the search page will live in here. So we're good. So let's create some JS files as placeholders for the components that we eventually want to create. We're just going to create the files. They're going to be empty, but just so that we know what we need to work on. So we're going to do a search grid. We need that. Search grid.js. We'll create another folder in here called search input. And another one, what did I call it? I called it search page option. So we got 3 new components aside from search page. We have the grid, input, and a page option. Those are those filters, sorting things. So we just need to create these 3 files just as placeholders. So give me a thumbs up when you've got those created. Cool.
Apologies, Joey. I just want to double check. This is the time. You said they're all files. I thought you said one was a folder. I mean, they're just
oh yeah, no.
But...
I had forgot we already created the search page folder.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just placing these files into that folder since that already is like our designated placeholder for all of those search related things.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, cool. All these thumbs up. That's awesome. We'll wait on creating the SAS files for now. In fact, because these styles for some of these get pretty intense, some of these I'll be providing for you, so we don't have to sit here and type out CSS for half the class. So those SAS files I can provide on the next pull, basically. That way they're already ready for us. We just have to write the component and reference the styles. We'll do maybe tomorrow. We'll do maybe half the time. We'll do some more styling just to get in the habit of how it works. But after that, it's just like I said, it's a big time drain to write all the CSS styles, especially when I think we all understand what CSS is doing, right? Unless you guys want to sit there and type out by hand all the CSS. All right, cool. So let's also look at, let's look at the rest of our application. What else do we need? What's inside here? Well, we've got this product page, right? Now there's lingo out there that describes what this page is. Caitlin can tell you what it is.
It's a product detail page.
Product detail page, or PDP. You'll hear that a lot. PDP.
In my sleep, I hear that, Joey.
Yeah, PDPs, variants, all kinds of things that exist in e-commerce. Yeah, so we're going to create a product detail page. And there's different components that exist within here as well. There's 2 main components. One is the page itself, right? And there's also this sort of like image viewer component that lets us select images. This is just basically, this is text. Now, we'll get into where we'd want to put this type of component in just a second, but let's create a folder that's going to house our product detail page. Let's get that structure going. So under components, we'll create a new folder called product detail page. You hear it in your sleep.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. And inside product detail page folder, we're going to have our product detail page component. So product detail page.js. And we're going to make another one called product media viewer.js. That's going to handle the selection of all the different, like when we click on the different thumbnail icons, it'll show the big picture for each one. All right, cool. So now we should have a lot of open editors. I'm going to close all these. So now we should have our product detail page folder, product detail page component, and our product media viewer component placeholder.js files. So thumbs up when we have created those. Awesome. All right, so what else do we have? Oh, there's one other thing. So if we go back to search, yeah, we have a search grid, but we probably don't want to create create elements for each one of these in the grid, right? We probably want to create one of these and reuse it. That's the beauty of React. We can create one component and reuse it infinitely. So for these, each one of these, we're going to call a product card, which basically consists of a picture, like a title or a label, and then a price tag on it. So we'll create a product card component that's going to be displayed for that. Now we're going to keep this under components. Oops, sorry, not new file, new folder. We'll call it product card. Because product cards can be used in more than just search pages. They can be used on home pages, or maybe on like a page that represents some sort of sale. You can have a list of product cards displayed on items that are on sale. There's a whole lot of places that you can put these things. They don't solely exist on a search page. And that's why we're keeping it as a separate component folder, because search page has these. We're not going to show a search grid on any other page than a search page, right? But product cards are useful. We can use those in different places. So we'll put it there. We'll create a new file in there called productcard.js. And that'll be our placeholder for that thing. All right. Next, what else do we got in my list of things to do? Our cart page. Okay, so let's take a look at our cart page. Now, if you look at this, there's not really a whole lot going on. There's a title. There's a table of like table looking thing. That's pretty easy to create. This is our footer, so that's on every page. The only other thing is this button with some text. So there's really not much here. But if I were to add something to the cart, okay, now I do have some stuff, right? Now this right here, this table, it's essentially a table, or you could think of it as more Bootstrap columns, which is I think how I ended up creating it. It's pretty simple. There's just an image with some text, right? There's a price. There's this quantity thing again that we saw, and then a price. So the only thing I really see reusable here is this quantity thing, right? Because if we go back to our product detail page, here it is again. So that's something we don't want to recreate. We want to create one instance of this thing, import it in different places. So for that, what did I call that? Ah, yes. So we're going to come over to, let me collapse these folders so you can see everything on the screen. Create a new folder under components. And we're going to call it product quantity. And you guessed it, product quantity.js inside there. Cool. So now we'll have a placeholder to import that component into two different pages there. But as I'm creating all this folder structure tells me the reusability of each thing, right? So if it's in the straight up components folder, it's reusable somehow. Well, we only have one cart page, but that's okay. But footer can be reused technically, right? We're only rendering one header, but that doesn't say that maybe we want to reuse it someplace else, right? Our layout, our product card is definitely a reusable thing. And of course, product quantity. But if we go into, say, product detail page, this is the only place that these two exist, right? So the structure kind of gives us a sense of the reusability of these things. And so I would keep that in mind when you're creating your own folder structures, right? One type of convention that is used in a couple of different companies that I've seen is underneath components, there'll be a folder called shared. And that represents shared components, shared utility files, shared helpers, shared, all different types of things that any of the applications can use, and they're one central location. You import it from the shared folder. And so that's something that you see a lot of. So we do that at the company I'm at now. Previous company, Raymore, does that as well on their intranet stuff. And so having a central location for things that are shared across multiple applications is great. You don't have to recreate the wheel or have copies of your components all over the place. It's just one spot. So you want to reuse it as much as you can. But for things like this that are particular to this application, I'm not going to share product detail page because this product detail page is only going to look the way it does for this app. It's not going to look the way it does for any other app. So if I create another application that has a product detail page, I could use this as a starting point to get myself started, but I want to create a separate product detail page for that particular application. Does that make sense? Yeah. So your folder structure definitely gives you insight into the reusability of your components. All right, and there's one other thing. In fact, we'll have enough time to talk about this one. Where did I place this? Oh, yes. Okay. Right. So if I go into, just verify my usage. Yeah. All right. So inside the product detail page, perfect. I'm already here. This stuff right here, it looks like it's just like maybe inside some p tags or something like that. But this is actually data that comes from my backend, right? I'm not going to type all this out because this is a reusable component, this product detail stuff, right? It's a component. And what displays here depends on what I click on, right? The details, travel through the city center, transport it away, travel across the country. All these different, this is all coming from my backend. So I don't want to hard code this anywhere other than in my database, right? So how do I render this stuff? Now, let's take a look at, let's inspect this real quick. Looking at the thing here. I see, if I were to hover over this right here, see this thing called rich text? So rich text represents plain text, but plain text that can be rendered as like HTML or some other thing that recognizes whatever pattern it's in, right? XML, HTML, whatever it happens to be. So if I open this up, see here's all the stuff. See there's some p tags in here, right? These p tags are actually coming from the entry in the database. So rich text is rendering HTML. Let me show you real quick. Let's actually create this component. We have just enough time to do it. So I'm going to close everything out. In components, I'm going to create a new folder called rich text, because it's going to be a reusable thing. And inside there, a new file, rich text, rich text.js. Now we don't need to worry about styling this thing because the styling is actually going to come from the content it renders. So if the database entry has p tags in it, they have class names associated with that, that's where those styles are going to come from, not the rich text element itself. So, and this will tie into the whole dangerously set inner HTML thing that someone had a question of. All right, so we are going to export const rich text. And it's definitely going to receive props. Okay? It's a reusable component. The props it's going to receive is the text that's going to be rendered eventually into HTML. And then we're going to return some markup. And what we're going to return is a self-closing div. Because we don't need to render children. We're only going to render stuff that comes from props. But before you save this file and the formatting gets all wonky on you, we're going to give it a class name. And that's rich text. In case it should have margins on it on the page that it's on or something like that. To separate it out from other elements. But aside from that, this rich text doesn't really style the things it's going to render. This just styles would be, like I said, if you wanted to add margin around it so it doesn't get squished up against other components, things like that. The other thing it's going to take, in fact, I'm going to put this on different lines because it's going to get long. What's a long name? There's going to be another prop that gets passed to this called dangerously set inner HTML. Oops, not inner HTML. And you could probably guess that what we're about to do is probably discouraged in most cases. And there's reasons for that. So what this takes is an object. So we have to evaluate it. And we give it an object. And that object has one very, very specific property, which is __ HTML. And what we're going to render comes from props. In this case, it'll be props.text. Whatever text we pass in as the text prop will get rendered here. So what is this doing? Other than dangerously setting inner HTML, what React does is there's a lot of attacks that can happen on your web applications. If you allow someone, it's like, let's say I go into this particular application and someone figures out how to add an entry to my database by accessing one of my APIs. And they saw that in my markup, I'm rendering text as HTML in one particular component. Okay, well, what happens if they were to send some data to one of my endpoints, and instead of it being like their name on a form, they plug in some HTML text? Well, that gets stored in the database as plain text, but could be rendered as HTML, right? So if I were to just go, oh, okay, I'll display the name that came from the database as HTML because I want styling and stuff on it. Well, guess what? They could have added in an HTML tag that does some pretty nasty stuff. Maybe it calls out to a specific site. Maybe it runs a script tag. Maybe it does anything, right? It could do anything. So when I render it to the screen, guess what they have access to? Whatever those script tags going to do. They could delete my entire database. Well, there goes all my products. There goes all my sales. Big faux pas there, right? So what React does, it says, no, you cannot render text as HTML. You can't do it. We're not going to allow it. So in fact, if I were, let me just show you this real quick. If I were to go to, well, the layout page, just as an example, right above the header, I'll do right below the header just to make it easier to see. I'm going to render some text, but I'm going to put HTML in it. Now, at first you may think, cool, there's some HTML, but if I come over to my application, what do I see? I see the actual p tags. So what React does is it doesn't allow you to actually render this as HTML. It straight up renders it as the literal characters that you gave it. That prevents all types of bad things from going on. So in order to get around that, because there are instances where you want to render text as HTML, maybe, again, it comes from a database. So like for our example of our product descriptions, right? So maybe the product management team wants these product descriptions to look just a little different for each product. So they add in some script tags, or not script tags, but they add in some like, P tags or strong tags, or add some class names into there, just so that they have some control over the styling, so that you don't have to go in and style it. You leave it up to them. That's their job. They want to look, green text with a brown background all day long. Go ahead, whatever. That's on you. But React, of course, won't allow you to do that. So kind of like in a quote unquote escape hatch to get around that, they created this pattern where by typing this long thing out that says dangerously set inner HTML, you are opting into the fact that you might get completely destroyed. This is your fault. This is not React's fault. You wanted to do this, right? So that's how you render HTML by using plain text, by opting into the fact that you are dangerously setting this, and you are exposing some kind of loophole to get into your code. Now, it's up to you at this point to make sure you completely lock down the ways that data can get to your application, get into your backend and into your database. That's on you now, right? React allows you to do it using this method. As you can see, and sometimes I have to go back to the React docs to remember exactly the syntax and everything. But that's okay, right? Because I'm doing it thoughtfully, right? I'm being very careful on what gets rendered here, just because that is a security risk. Now, in this case, of course, it's all pretend data, and it's just going to be, no one can actually write to our database and change this markup, right? So you want to make sure that whatever you are rendering, that the data that's being rendered here cannot come from an outside source. So like I said, the product team's putting p tags and italic tags around their, around their markup that they want to show up in the product description. That all happens internally within the company. But you should never render text as HTML as a result of someone making an update to like a form and submitting, like, say, I don't know, submitting their email address to subscribe to your newsletter, right? You don't want to render that out as text to HTML, because they could put any sort of script tag they want there, right? So that's just as a forewarning to say, hey, yeah, we'll render it, but it's not our fault if something bad happens. We told you it's dangerous, right? So does that make sense? Cool. All right. And you'd be surprised how many people actually use this. But again, like I said, the data should come from an internal source only. And if for some reason some malicious thing did get in there, you don't have to look to the outside world to see where it came from. You got to look and see who's on your payroll and who who has it out for you. All right. So okay. So now we have a rich text component. This is literally the whole component. We don't have to do anything else. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this this in here just as like a reminder. And then what I'll do is I'll copy paste this into Slack so you have it. Now this is going to be part of the latest code base that we can pull down. But in case you want to copy this elsewhere beforehand, it's there. And there we go. It's in the Slack channel. Any questions on this? Hopefully I made it clear enough that this is dangerous. But in our case, it's pretty harmless because, again, we wrote the code, or, well, we're using the data that I wrote, so you don't have to worry about me maliciously attacking your computers, because that would be counterintuitive to what I'm trying to teach you. All right, let's see. Any other questions in general? Page came up with that message in the browser earlier that I failed to compile. Oh, images folder. We're not going to have images as like files. We're going to use our mock API is going to serve us URLs to free images that are out on the net that we'll be using to render our product images. So we don't have to worry about downloading files and placing them in the right place or anything like that. We're just going to render basically the source tag, the property that, or the value of the source tag we give to like an image tag or source property. We'll pass that data from the backend when we get to it. I'm not sure what the page came up with that message in browser. Not sure which message.
It was earlier when it grayed out the import for me before you copy and pasted it. Something I did failed to compile, and that came off huge across my screen with like 87, it said like 15 breaks or something on it. So
okay, are you all set with that or? Okay, cool. All right. Let's see. All right, so final questions for the night. Don't forget about the 30-second survey. And then, yeah, so I'm going to upload this to the repo. And then as a bonus, when we pull it down tomorrow, those SAS files that we didn't want to sit there and write all day long, some of those will be present in the code so that all we have to do is write the components. But I may leave maybe one off so we have some more practice with it. Sound good?
It's probably weird, but I like it. I like CSS stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I mean,
it's like my favorite thing.
So a lot of designers like CSS because they like designing pages and how the page looks and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
I always get the CSS at work. Nobody else wants it.
It's fun, you know.
I like it.
Yeah. So CSS can be fun, absolutely, but
it's very time consuming.
It's very time consuming, and if we were to write out all the CSS, we'd have maybe a day and a half left to teach the rest of React. Right? It's that much CSS that kind of went into this project, and I kind of had it out ahead of time that I'd provide most of the CSS anyways. But we would write just enough so that you understood how SAS worked, right? And that the whole BEM convention, we're going to get into a little bit more about that for our naming conventions. And so, yeah, so I wanted to alleviate some of the time-consuming stuff, but we'll create maybe one more SAS file so that we can get some more practice writing it, and then you can reference the rest of what's going to be available for you in case you have any questions on it. But it's mostly be more of the same over and over and over and over again. We're just putting in styles, we're nesting it to the properties we want to target, and so on and so forth.
So I have a question because I just had so much trouble at the beginning of class getting all of my files correct. And I'm kind of scared to pull again because I don't want to mess anything up that we just did. Is there a way to like guarantee that it's going to work or that I'm pulling from the correct repo?
There is one surefire way to guarantee you'll get the latest, and that's to clone the repo to a new folder.
Okay. Clone it from the web browser GitHub or
from the hacks, yeah, from the hack upstate. Yeah, so I can demonstrate that real quick. Okay. Or what we can do is maybe we could do that at the beginning of class as well. I can show you where to go and what to do. But if we need to reiterate before class starts, we can do that. Right?
I don't care if we do it now or before class. I just want to make sure that I do it right because
so
I pulled from the repo, it messed everything up.
I'll give you a high-level overview of how to guarantee that. So if we go to GitHub, hack upstate, all right, we go into, if I'm at hack upstate's GitHub, I go into careers and code, classroom code base, right? And from here, hit the green button that says code, see where it says clone, you want to copy that. Let's copy to my clipboard. And if you were to start a new terminal, so right now I'm in my home directory, right? So you could make a folder in here, you know, like, I don't know how much command line stuff you guys did. But essentially, or what you could do is you can make a new folder in Finder. I got a lot of stuff in here. All right, so I've made a whole bunch of folders. You can make a folder in here, like you right click, oops, in here, right? Make, or is it up here? File, oh, right here. New folder. So you can create a new folder, and then you can navigate to it with, you can actually navigate to it with VS Code, right? So you can do code, file, open. In fact, let me do this. Let me create a new folder. I'm just going to minimize this. I've copied this already, make sure. Okay. And then in Finder, inside, let's say I'll go inside my code. I have one for CIC. And inside here, oh, I can right click right here. New folder. We'll just say GitHub repo, or we'll say CIC repo, right? So here I created my folder. I can close this out. I can open up Visual Studio Code, which is here. Oh, it's on the other side of my screen. Hold on. I minimized this one. Let's see. Now I'm going to File, Open. I'm going to navigate to where am I? I don't use a Mac very often. I like it to, is it Control Shift H? Yeah, or sorry, Command Shift H will take you to your home directory. I go into Find My Folder. All right, so here's my folder. I'm going to open that up. All right, so it's empty, of course. There's nothing in here. But if I were to start the terminal, so terminal, new terminal, if I type pwd, print working directory, you can see this is where I'm at, right? So from here, I can type git clone, paste that link. Now it's cloning the repo down. I just have to remember that this repo exists, like the downloaded repo exists within this folder. Here, you can see it right here. Careers and Code, Cohort 2, Module 6 working. Here's all the stuff from the beginning of class, right? This is the one surefire way to guarantee you're going to get the latest. And then going forward, you just pull from this repo. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
You're going to have a copy of it, right? There's going to be another copy of it on your hard drive.
No, that's fine. Because I never copied from the regular repo and put it in a different file. But I mean, if that's going to guarantee that it doesn't mess up, then I'll just do that.
Yeah, so what I would do is don't do it just yet.
No, I'll wait until tomorrow to do it.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to waste a bunch of time in the beginning of class tomorrow like we did today. I apologize.
Yeah, so what I'll do is when I post, after I finish posting it up to, or pushing it up to the GitHub, I'll make a post inside the Slack channel and then do this after that. That way you're guaranteed to have everything for the start of class tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. And then also, once you get into it, go into the working folder, open a new integrated terminal there. And from here, you would type npm install, and that'll install everything as though it's already been on there. Right? So all like the npm packages like Font Awesome and Node SAS, those will all be in there. But they won't.
And it won't mess up if we already installed them tonight in class, correct?
No, because what's happening is you're installing them in this folder.
Oh.
So if I were to type npm install, in fact, we can watch it. Watch my folder structure here. Still going, still going. But eventually what it's going to do, it's going to create a node modules folder within my project working folder. That's going to be where all the npm modules exist, or npm packages exist for this project. It doesn't matter that you did it someplace else. You don't have access to it someplace else while you're in this folder. When you're in this folder, you have access to it here. And so you have to npm install that here in order to have those packages download. And this is going to take, it's going to take a long time. But in fact, if I refresh now, yep, there's my node modules folder right here. And it's installing all my packages. So the first time you download a repo from anywhere, that uses, npm packages, you have to do an npm install anyway. So this is like at the beginning of the whole thing when you did npm installs for whatever projects we were working on, whether it was this class or a previous class.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. So say that I got a new job or whatever, and they just gave me their GitHub repo. I would have to do this just to get all of their NPMs and everything done and installed. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Just putting it in like a real life perspective.
Yeah, it's in fact, the way I set this project up is exactly how you'd see it, like out in the real world. I go to here. Let's just pretend that this is where the company repo exists. There's a README file here. What does the README file tell me to do? It tells me to npm install it, right? So you're going to have instructions in the repo for that particular company and how to use it. And the first thing they're going to tell you to do is install the packages, how to start the project up, any other relevant information, where where it's hosted, things like that. Right. So you would have to do it anyway. So it's good practice.
Thank you for going through that with us tonight.
Yep, I'm going to actually cancel this because this was just for demonstration purposes. If you need a recap on any of this, we can go over it tomorrow before class, get you all set up. All right. Any other questions before we wrap it up?
Just what about my situation? Do you
right, yes. We'll have
want me to ping someone? Are you going to ping someone tomorrow? I'm available.
So can you do me a favor? Where did you post that? Was that that wasn't here?
I think I put it in the pasted code.
So there is a reference to a log file. If you can somehow, open up that log file and look inside the contents of there, and then maybe copy and paste the contents.
So like rerun
like
that
in
again?
a private message for me.
Yeah, but rerun the whole thing.
Well, actually what it did is it created a log file in your hard drive. You just have to go to this folder. So users, your name, .npm logs, right? So this is where it exists.
Why I can't see your screen?
Oh, sorry. I'm inside
or I can.
The Slack channel. I'm inside the Slack channel.
Oh.
So where you posted your error.
Yeah.
The first part where it says npm error users, your name, npm logs, debug.log.
Yes.
Yeah, so that file exists somewhere on your hard drive right now. And
so
that
I post.
Yeah, so you just have to navigate to that file with Finder.
Oh.
And open it up. I mean, if it's like 5,000 lines, that's one thing. But if it's like maybe like 50 or so, feel free to send me a DM with the contents of that, and then I can take a closer look, and I can ping some people on what the problem might be. The other thing is, when you guys installed, did you guys go through a practice of installing Node.js, or was that done for you automatically? You guys did that?
I think we did it. We've done a few things like that.
Okay. Do me a quick favor. I see that right here. It looks like you're using Node version 15.11.0 inside your readout there. I'm wondering if maybe that version of Node is not compatible with Node.js. For anyone else that's still on the call, if you go to a terminal and type node -- version, or could anyone do that for me? So if you go to a terminal, just like my screen's still sharing, I think. Node space -- version. And maybe Susan, you could also let us know for sure. Yeah, so everyone's on 15.11, so that's not the issue because other people were able to install that, so that's different. Yeah, so how about this? Run the command again for Node SAS to install it, and then copy and paste that entire readout from that, and send me that.
Okay.
From there, I'll talk to a couple other people to see if we can figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll type, npm install --save node -sas, and then whatever it spits out, copy and paste that into a message for me.
All right.
Sound good?
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
then hopefully I'll have an answer sooner than later.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, that one's bugging me. There's something up here, so I'll figure it out.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah, actually, just because we were just talking about the versions, is that something we should be upgrading periodically, or how would you do that? Just reinstall Node, or?
Yeah, so if you go to nodejs.org, what I recommend doing, oh, you guys are on 15, so that might be an experimental version. But some of you were able to do it, so that doesn't make sense. Anyway, so occasionally there'll be new versions of Node that come out. I always recommend downloading whatever says LTS, which is long-term support. This is guaranteed to be stable, whereas the current version may contain experimental features that are not yet stable or may change. So I always recommend downloading the LTS version. Currently, you guys are on version 15. So
Installed it in the terminal though, like in the first week of class when we set up our whole dev
yeah,
environment. So I don't know how you.
well, you'd click on this, it would download the installer, and then you'd run it.
Okay.
Unless you
I
have,
think how we would have done that in the terminal, like told it what version we wanted or whatever.
yeah,
I don't
there's,
remember.
yeah, I'm not going to get too much into that, but that's basically how you do it.
Okay.
If you would try to install a version that's older than your current one, I believe it will stop. It'll be like, no, you already have a version that's older. But there's other technology out there that lets you download different versions at different times. But it sounds like that's not the issue this time around. So, a little bit of a mystery.
So basically you just have to check and re-download it. There is no like update feature or anything like that.
I mean, you can follow their news. In fact, I think there's a newsletter sign up there. In fact, I signed up somehow for their newsletter. So anytime there's new features, I get an email with whatever they send out to all their email subscriber base. So if there's a feature I'm looking forward to, I'll have a heads up on that, and I can go over and say, oh, there's the new version, I'll download it, take advantage of it or whatever.
Okay,
And
yeah,
so
I'm
that's
just
kind
trying
of
to
like,
think of the new ways of thinking about this, because normally when I install software, it prompts you when there's a new update, it wants you to install. And because we installed this in the terminal,
yeah,
it's occurred to
so
me, I don't even know how I would do that or how I would know. Or
right, so
yeah.
for Node, your Mac doesn't care about what happens with Node, right? It cares about if there's new versions of Mac OS,
Right.
But they're not responsible for what happens with Node. So they're not going to tell you when there's a new update.
Right.
That's on you.
Other software, like every time you open it, I think it checks or something, because sometimes
Yeah.
it'll pop up and say, even if Mac hasn't created the software, when
Right.
you open that software, it'll say, oh, there's a new version. Do you want to install it? So,
Yeah, so Node works a little differently. Like with NPM, the Node package manager will tell you when there's a new version the next time you run NPM, right, in the terminal. It'll say, hey, there's a new update, right? I don't think Node does that. I don't know if they do or not. I've never actually honestly looked. I've always been proactive on trying to figure out if there's something new out there or not. But they might the next time you run your next Node project. But I would look in the console for things related to Node or NPM.
All right, thanks.
All right. Any other questions before I end the stream? I'm keeping this going in case anyone has issues or needs to rewatch for some apparent reason. I can stop sharing my screen though. All right, is everyone good for now? All right, so I will see you all tomorrow. Susan, hopefully I'll have an answer for you very soon. And then, yeah, we'll start filling out those components that we created the placeholders for. And hopefully we'll work with a little bit of data. We'll use that wiki as well. All right, so